Hi, I am Christy. I am a psychic medium and energy worker, and this is my friend Alex.
Hello.
She has a lot of experience with spirity stuff too. So today we're going to talk about meditation because it's super important. It's the tiniest little thing, and it's so easy to add into your day. You just have to make yourself do it at first.
Yeah, and it's a good first step into the realm of spirity stuff.
Yeah.
So
first, we wanted to talk about why it's important to meditate, because it really is one of the best things you can do for multiple reasons. So meditation really helps you get back to center, get closer to your higher self, because I feel we operate so much of our day in our minds. We're just thinking things and blah, blah, blah. And we really need to get back to what we feel like and what we're sensing, because if we're just filled with thoughts all day long, then we're not closer to our intuition or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. And you're also thinking about the future a lot, the future, the past, and this meditation forces you to be in the present and can chill you out and get you in a good frame of mind to be able to more accepting of your intuition.
Yeah. So meditating, it really does bring you back to center. It kind of grounds you, and that allows you to become more aligned with your higher self, like I said, become more receptive to your intuition and to spirit. Now, that doesn't mean that when you start meditating, you're gonna start getting things, but we're in a place that's not super close to source, I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Is that a good term?
We're vibrating lower.
Yeah, we're vibrating lower on a daily basis because of all the shit that goes on in our lives.
Yeah, but meditation allows us our vibration to get a little bit higher.
To where we naturally would be.
Yes, and the higher your vibration, the more receptive you are.
Yeah, because you're closer.
Yeah, you're closer to them. And so, and we touched on this a little bit in the Spirit Guides video. Mm-hmm. But meditation is a great way to get in touch with your spirit guides, because when you meditate, you're just allowing them to see how your brain works. So this doesn't mean that they're going to talk to you right away, but they will understand you more, they'll understand how to communicate with you, and it's a good way to start opening a relationship with them. Yeah,
because you're really quieting down your brain. It's if your brain was a kindergarten classroom and everyone was freaking out and they're screaming and running around and paint everywhere. And so meditation is kind of like nap time, and it's just really calm and kind of lets everyone rest and get back to their natural state, kind of.
Yeah. So now that we talked about why you should meditate, now we want to teach you a little bit
or why it's helpful to meditate. Yeah, I don't like the word should.
Okay.
I don't like the word should.
But you should. Now
it's healthy and helpful to meditate.
Yes, especially if you want to get more spirity. Not that everyone isn't spirity, but
or if you just want to get grounded.
Exactly, but you can do it for both.
Yeah.
And so now we want to tell you a little bit about how to meditate. Just very basic, ground floor meditating. Foundation is the word I was thinking.
First thing you want to do is get in a space where you feel comfortable, both physically and energy-wise. Because if you're in a place where you're that causes you anxiety, or you're around people that kind of you don't feel safe with, you're not going to be able to get into a good meditative state. So get into a quiet, comfy place, and make sure that you're probably in a seated position, because, you can lay down, but if you need to sleep, you will 100% sleep if you're laying down. Not even a question.
I feel laying down is good if you're just meditating to, relax yourself, I feel. But if you're meditating to, get in a certain zone, then you should sit up. Yeah.
I have chronic pain, and so at night, sometimes when I'm laying in bed, I'll just go into, dead man's pose for yoga or whatever, and just meditate, because it really kind of brings you back to your natural state of being. So you can do it laying down. It's not like it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's just like I do that before I go to sleep for a reason. But really, I find it best if you're sitting and you want to be grounding yourself. So you either want your feet flat on the floor or you want to be sitting on the floor. Because really, I mean, it's a little thing, but it makes a huge difference. Like, even if you just try and meditate someday and you're, like, sitting with your feet up, or your feet are, like, you're just on, like, the sides of your feet or whatever, like the balls of your feet.
You're not as connected.
Yeah, you really just aren't. And you can feel it. You can feel the difference.
Yeah. So then you want to be, when you're sitting, you just want to feel like supported. Like, you want your back to be straight but comfortable, and you want your hips supported, and you just want to feel like secure and like in a place that you're willing to sit without moving for like 10 minutes or something. So
as a person with physiological problems, like my spine is not the strongest, and so I make sure that if I'm meditating, I usually have like an extra pillow behind me, between me and the couch, so that I'm really, you want to be straight up so that it's easier to breathe.
yeah.
Because if you're all scrunched over, you're not going to get as much air in your lungs and your diaphragm, and then it's not going to be as deep of a meditation, really. It's not going to be as enjoyable. You're going to be focusing on the sensory experience of the discomfort the whole time instead of just relaxing.
Yeah. So when you start meditating, you first obviously close your eyes. And then you basically just start with your breath. So deep belly breaths.
Yeah.
Slow in and out.
Which is basically like, belly breathing sounds weird, and it is a thing that you have to get used to at first because we're used to just using our lungs, which would make sense. But really just try and breathe in so that you're filling your stomach.
Yeah. It's good. It puts you in like, it tells your body that it's like time to relax, and it releases tension, I think, too.
Yeah.
Because like, I feel like some people like hold tension like in their bodies, and then belly breathing forces the tension to like release.
Yeah, so do good, deep belly breaths. And really just, like, I know a lot of people think that meditation is about not having any thoughts in your head and you're just, like, totally cleared out and nothing's happening. But really it's more about observation.
Yeah.
So when you're breathing, really notice how your body is feeling at that point in time, which is, again, why it's good to be in a comfortable position, because you're really seeing how you feel. You're like being an observer. You're taking a step back and just watching what happens. Like, if you have thoughts, you kind of acknowledge them.
Yeah. Just let them float by in your head and picture them as like a little thought bubble, and you can like just accept them, and pop the bubble and release them and let them go.
When I was first meditating, I pictured it as they would pop up on a chalkboard and I would have someone just go across the screen. Yeah, it's like the little Lizzie McGuire cartoon, and she would just go across the screen and erase the chalkboard.
So there's a lot of metaphors.
Yeah.
Bubbles, chalkboard, whatever.
Yeah, anything that will help you understand that you're acknowledging it or labeling it and then releasing it.
And not judging it.
Yeah, no judgment.
Accepting it.
Just release it.
Yes.
It's like, oh, okay.
That's there. Interesting. Goodbye.
Not even interesting, because that's a judgment.
Okay, fine.
But
it's there.
So that's a really difficult thing to do for a lot of people at first, because like we're not used to that. Like when we have a thought, we're like, oh my god, there are so many things that are connected to this that I need to do this, this, and this. And how dare I think about that?
Exactly.
It's so weird.
Yeah, just let your thoughts be their thoughts.
Yeah. So there are a lot of things you can like add into your meditations that aren't necessary for meditating, obviously, but they help.
Yeah.
So something that I like to do is use crystals, which that could be like sitting in a room that has big crystals, if you were like one of those people that has the big geodes, or if you go to the store and get the tiny little ones, you can hold those. So really just grab what you're drawn to at that point in time and sit with it. Crystals super help.
Yes.
And if you are sensitive to energies, you can try and kind of get more in touch with the energy of the crystal that you're holding.
Yeah, I think I find it helpful to just lay it in your palm.
Yeah.
Don't close your fist around it, because I feel like that's cutting off. I don't know if that's a real thing or if that's just how I think about it, but I like to hold it open palm and
I like to do open palm too.
And you can,
because then you're not putting effort into it.
Yeah,
you're
and I also
there.
I feel like choosing a crystal can also help you set an intention for your meditation, because if you choose a crystal that helps you relax, then the intent of that meditation is to relax. Or if you choose a crystal that helps you talk to spirit guides, then that's the intention for the meditation.
Yeah. So,
another thing that is good to do before you meditate is sage the room. That just clears out all the bad energy.
Gunk.
Yeah, just make sure that the energy that you'll be meditating in is nice and positive and helpful to you.
And also, if you get into the habit of saging before you meditate, then every time you sage, your body's going to know that, okay, we're about to go into a meditation. So, where we heal, we relax, we get back to our authentic selves or whatever. And so then that's kind of starts your body up into being okay, we're going into meditation mode. So there are also guided meditations, and they're everywhere. There's ones you can buy at the bookstore that have CDs.
Yeah.
And
there's podcasts.
Yeah.
Apps.
iTunes.
YouTube.
Yeah. There's so
everywhere.
Yeah, I bet YouTube has a ton.
Yeah.
Yeah, so guided meditations are really helpful, especially if you are sitting there and you're this is really weird. I'm sitting in a room silently.
Yeah.
And I can't really, I'm having trouble not actively using my brain. Because then it's you're listening to something and you're following instructions, and so it is something you can focus on a little more.
I started with guided meditations.
Yeah.
When I first started, I never just meditated on my own. I always had a podcast. It was from a book, I think.
And they're also nice because, in the world that we live in, we're not used to silence.
Yeah.
So when you're starting out, that can be really disconcerting. When it's just the world is so loud. You've got the TV, you've got your cell phone, everything, and then you just all of a sudden it's silent, because it's it really is quite a difference when you start doing it. So that can be helpful to just get you used to kind of being in a more quiet, relaxed place.
Yeah. And then another little tip to help you focus in and not let your mind wander too much is counting your breaths. So you can breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4, hold it, and then breathe out for 4, 3, 2, 1, or whatever feels right for you. That just helped. I did that. I still do that actually usually, and it kind of just it makes you focus on your breathing, make sure your breathing is consistent and slow and deep, and it also kind of gives your mind something to think about. Yeah. Which can be helpful.
Hard. Yeah, it's hard to just go to not running around in circles in your brain, because that's what we're doing all the time, and then you're oh, have time to relax, but I don't know what to do with myself. Yeah. So
I'll talk more about this later, but it's also it's a good way to start the meditation. You don't have to do it the whole time you're meditating, because I usually drop it one time
once you're in a good groove
into it, but it's a good way to start off.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So another thing that's really helpful with meditation is to make it a habit. Because it kind of, I know for me and for my mom, it can seem like a chore sometimes when we've gotten out of the habit. But then after you do it, you're like, oh my God, I should meditate all the time. This is so great. So really make it a habit, because especially if you set like a specific time every day that you meditate and you give yourself like block out time for yourself, it just makes it a lot easier. And the more you do it, the more naturally it comes. And the more you're going to be closer to that vibration, I think you mentioned that earlier, that you're in while you're meditating during everyday life. Because if you spend 15 minutes a day where you are really raising your vibration, then that's going to even out. So it's really helpful to do it consistently and make it a habit.
And then also, don't expect anything spirity or freaky or paranormal to happen when you're meditating. That threw me off for a really long time and kind of put me off meditating, because every time I meditated, I was like, all right, I better hear a spirit talking in my head.
Why aren't my guides
I was like, I'm
me?
doing it, why is nothing happening? But that's not the point. You have to go into it expecting nothing to happen. But like for real. Like for real. Like I know it's easy to like sit down and be like, all right, nothing's gonna happen, but then secretly hope something to happen. I did that and nothing will happen. You have to really get to a place where you're meditating for the sake of meditating. You're not meditating to make something happen. You're just meditating to meditate.
Like I'll share my experiences with meditating if I have a really cool meditation where I'm like seeing something from a past life or whatever, just like weird shit that pops into my head, or not my head, but my space. And I'll share that with my mom, and then my mom goes to meditate, and she's like, this is not fair. I meditated, blah, 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 and I was waiting and waiting and waiting. It's like, but if you're waiting for something to happen, you're not actually meditating. You're not actually just allowing yourself to be. So, yeah, it's really important not to go off of, like, I've been meditating with this person for the same amount of time, and they're seeing things, and I'm not. Like, the point of meditation, like you said, is not to see things or hear things. Like, that's not the point of meditation. The point of meditation is to get closer to your higher self, really.
Exactly. And even if things do happen, that doesn't mean they will happen every time. Like, I have gotten to a point where things sometimes happen, but I also have meditations more often than not where it's just meditating.
Just sitting there,
So,
which is really nice.
Because you get in a place and it's like, it's hard to describe, but you get in a place where it's just like calm, and you don't have to be anywhere else, and you just feel like you're
just there. There's no judgment, there's no attachments, you're just there.
It's kind of like how some people talk about taking a shower, and like they're like, I really don't feel like taking a shower, but once I'm in the shower, then I never want to leave.
I want to get out of the shower.
That's basically what meditating is.
I have that experience also.
Alright.
Okay, so my favorite, like, way to meditate is to sit on something with my feet on the floor. Like, that's just better for my back and everything. But really, so when I'm meditating, the most helpful thing for me to do, my favorite way to do it, is to just focus on the breath. Like, just be like, in, out, in, out. You're not even focusing on, like, the ins and the outs or whatever, but just, like, feeling how my body feels. Because that really takes your focus away from up here and brings it down to the rest of your body, kind of. And then when you're feeling bodily sensations, you're going to feel, well, if you're sensitive to energy, you're going to feel energy. And so, like, at that point, if I get to that point where I'm really in a good place, I then like to put up my bubble, which I talked about in a previous video. And then you just kind of are like floating in amazing energy. So, and you're still not doing anything. You're still like just there being, but you're in goodness, if that makes sense. So that's my favorite thing to do, is just focus on the breath and how my body feels. How it feels to be in my body is what I say. How do I feel in my body right now? Sounds weird, but it's very helpful.
All right, well, my favorite meditation is a lot different than that. Which goes to show that there's no right way to meditate. It's just like we're sitting here talking and be like, this is how you should meditate, but
no, you have
it's
to
up
do
you.
what's right for you and what feels right for you.
Exactly, because if I did what she did, I would not get the same, I would not be able to get into a higher vibrational place. Like, I just wouldn't. Like, I have to go through more steps to be able to get to that higher vibration. So, what I do is, same thing, I sit down, usually cross-legged on the floor or something, and I always have a crystal in my hand. It depends on what I feel like I need for that day, depending on which one I choose. And then I close my eyes and I start by counting my breaths. I do the 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, 4, 3, 2, 1, exhale. And I do that for a while until I feel like I am like, all my energy is focused. Readjust on that meditation. And so then after that I kind of stop counting my breaths, and then I imagine myself in a location that like, it doesn't even have to be like a real location, like just some place that makes you feel like connected and like safe. And so I feel like it's not that helpful just be like imagine the whole place as a whole, because I feel like that's a lot for your like brain to do at once. You look very interested in what I'm saying.
This is very different from how I meditate. So, I mean, that just goes to show you how different it is. But this is like totally different. So, I've never been through that type of process before.
So
that's really interesting to me.
Okay, so
I am really interested in what you're saying.
So I imagine myself in that place by imagining specific like sensory details. Like, I don't imagine as a whole. Like, I imagine like it's like my place is this field, I guess, that I visited in Ireland once.
Oh, like a safe space.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just really like nice and peaceful there. So I imagine there's like a stone fence. So first, like, I imagine like the feeling of like the stone fence, and then I imagine what the ground would feel like. I imagine what the grass would feel like. I imagine what the sun, and then like the wind, and like how like the dirt road would sound. So all these sensory details, like I go through each one, and like I basically imagine that I'm like feeling it, and then all of that builds up, and then I feel like I'm there. So then once I have established that, mine is much more in-depth.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of work, but
but I feel like
that gets you to a better place.
It like, I feel like she's like much more like connected. I feel like you are, and so you're like there almost already.
Yeah, I'm half in a meditative state all the time.
Yeah, so I have to go through some more steps to get there, which
is totally fine because you end up at the same place.
Exactly. So after I'm in that safe place, then I start building up my bubble. So I imagine like kind of like a white light on like the crown of my head, and I breathe that in, and then like I exhale it out, and it starts forming a bubble around me. And sometimes it like doesn't take that many breaths to get the bubble all around me, and then sometimes
it takes a lot.
It takes like a lot, and I just like imagine it expanding around me, and then once it's all around me, then I imagine it like lighting up and like beams of light coming in, and then I'm like, once I'm in that place, then I'm like, all right, spirit guides, if you want to say anything, you're welcome in this space or whatever. Blah, 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 blah.
But that's not necessary. You could just sit in it.
Well, yeah, I know, but I like to say, I don't force them.
You like to let them know that you're cool with it.
Yeah, like if you, it's basically like if you want to come chill, go for it. But no one else is allowed. And so then, once I am in that zone, I'm in a little bubble, chilling with the higher spirits, I just chill, and then I'm good. And I just sit there for a while, and sometimes things come, sometimes things don't.
Yeah.
And then, so that's how I meditate.
Yeah. Yeah. So meditation can be pretty varied. Like, you can be sitting there just in your bubble, and I shouldn't say just because it's amazing, but you can be sitting there in your bubble, and you're just there, and that's what you do. You can have vivid past life experiences. Yeah. You can have weird astral travel things, which is like a weird thing, but basically just like
or like
hang out with your guides.
Yeah.
Let's say that. Let's say that.
Like I've had times, and like, see, for her, I feel like you feel like spirity things like sooner in your meditation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But me, I don't start feeling things until I am in that bubble at the end. And so, like, I've had things where I've, like, felt like someone's hand is on top of mine, or I feel like the crystal, like, pulsing and stuff like that. So just, like, little things like that.
So it's really, like, don't judge what you're getting or not getting during your meditation. Like, you're doing it for the purpose of getting back to source. Like, getting centered and calming everything.
Yeah.
Because you deserve a break.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
There's so much stimuli. There's so much stimuli all the time. And so it's important to, like, calm everything down and take a break.
Yes. Yeah. And whatever you do is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Do what feels good.
That's the right way to do it.
Do what
however
helps
you do it.
Yeah, and let yourself explore. Like, don't expect to find the perfect meditation for you the first time you do it.
Yeah.
I went through a lot of different types of meditation before I found the one that worked for me.
Ditto.
So just let yourself explore. It's all a journey. That sounds stupid.
It's a little corny, but
it is.
It's a process. I'm gonna call it a process.
Well, I'm still gonna call it a journey. So just, yeah.
So, thank you for watching. I hope that this was helpful. Like this video if you actually enjoyed it. I mean, I'm not trying to force you to do anything.
And also, just so you're not confused, I'm gonna be in the videos from now on. I hope you don't have a problem with that. If you do, I don't really care. I'm still gonna be in them.
That was rude.
I don't care.
Yeah, well, okay, so the thing is, Alex is gonna be in the videos now because I feel like listening to me talk, you would take a nap if it was just me talking the whole time.
And also, we have very different perspectives, and I think it's helpful to see different perspectives.
Yes.
You look like it's not helpful to see different perspectives.
It is helpful to see different perspectives. At the same time, a lot of the information that I'm sharing is coming from what I like to call the stream of information. And a lot of what Alex is sharing is coming from her personal experiences. Yes. So it's a little bit different, and that's something to keep in mind. Yeah.
Yeah, so hers is, like, legit. Mine is, like, hers is, like, if you want to be, like, an expert at this, and, like, you want, like, real hardcore, like, the spirit told her to say this. But me, it's, like, if you're just, like, a normal person, and you want to be into this, you're probably going to end up more like me. Does that make sense?
Yes, but basically Alex's information is based on personal experience.
Yeah.
How about I say that?
Yeah, it is based on personal experience, but I don't think that makes it any less good.
No, it doesn't. It's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I'm not an expert. So, don't sue me if you do something and then your life is ruined.
So, yeah.
You can sue her, though.
What?
Anyway, we were saying something important.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah.